Welcome to my channel. What if I told you that you could improve your English without speaking a word? That you could train your brain to think in English anytime, anywhere, even when you're silent? For 30 days, I spoke English only in my mind. No notebooks, no teachers, just my thoughts. What happened shocked me. This story will show you how thinking in English can quietly transform your speaking. Stay till the end, because what I learned on day 17 will change how you learn English forever. Chapter 1. The First Day of Silence. The first day felt strange. I had made a simple rule for myself. From now on, I will not speak in my native language, not even in my head. I will think only in English. It sounded easy at first, but when I opened my eyes that morning, my mind automatically started speaking in my native language. I had to stop it. I reminded myself, no, English only. But what do I say? What does thinking in English even look like? So I started with small, easy things. I looked at the ceiling. I wake up. I saw the curtain. I see the window. I sat up slowly. I sit on the bed. That was it. Just simple, present tense sentences. I wasn't speaking, just thinking, in silence. My own thoughts were becoming English sentences. It felt slow but also exciting, like I had entered a new world, a quiet world where English lived in my head. I walked to the bathroom. I open the door. I brush my teeth. I look in the mirror. I wasn't using any grammar rules. I wasn't worried about mistakes. I was just naming what I saw and what I did. And for the first time, I was seeing English not as a subject, but as a way of life. It was around me. It was inside me. But soon, I hit a wall. I wanted to say something like, I feel fresh, but I didn't know how. I paused. I tried to translate from my language, but then I stopped myself. No translation, I whispered. Just guess. So I said, I feel new. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. It gave me confidence. I was learning by doing, not by rules. As the day went on, I kept going. Every action was a sentence. I drink water. I walk slowly. I wear my shoes. It was boring sometimes. Repetitive. I forgot words. I repeated the same sentence again and again, but I didn't stop, because deep inside, I felt something changing, something waking up. In the afternoon, I went for a walk. I looked at trees. The trees are green. I saw children playing. They are running. I passed a bakery. I smell bread. I realized I didn't need a classroom. I didn't need a teacher. My environment was my teacher, and my mind was my classroom. By evening, I was tired. Thinking in English all day was hard. My brain was not used to it. It wanted to rest. It wanted to return to my native language. But I didn't let it. I stayed silent. And I kept thinking in English. Simple thoughts, simple words. I even tried to plan the next day in English. Tomorrow, I wake up at 7. I make breakfast. I study English. Just planning felt like speaking, but in silence. The day ended with a strange feeling. I hadn't spoken English aloud. I hadn't used any grammar rules. I hadn't memorized anything, but I had spent one full day living in English, inside my mind. And that felt powerful. It felt real. It felt like a small light had turned on in a dark room. And I knew if I kept going, that light would grow. I smiled before going to bed. My last thought was, I can do this. And that was the most beautiful sentence of the day, because it came not from a book, but from inside me. That night, for the first time, I dreamed in English. Chapter 2. My brain starts to fight. Day 2 began with a strange kind of headache. Not the kind that comes from noise or stress, but the kind that comes from using your brain in a new way. I woke up and forgot to think in English. My mind naturally started in my native language again. It felt comfortable, easy, automatic. But I remembered my goal. I whispered in my mind, no. English only. Still, it was harder than yesterday. My brain didn't want to do it. It felt slow, heavy, even lazy. It was like dragging a heavy bag up a hill. I said, I get up. Then my mind replied in my native language. No one is watching. Just relax. I fought that voice. No, I said again, silently. This is important. I went to the kitchen. I make tea. I boil water. I open the fridge. The sentences were simple, just like yesterday, but now they felt heavier. My brain didn't want to build them. It wanted to go back to comfort, my mother tongue. That's when I realized something important. When you push your mind to grow, it fights back. That resistance means change is happening. I sat at the table. My tea was hot. I watched the steam. I tried to describe it in English. The steam is white. It goes up. It disappears. It was a small exercise, but it helped me focus. It reminded me, I don't need big, fancy words. I just need simple sentences, clear thoughts. But the resistance didn't stop. All day long, my brain tried to switch back. It was sneaky. I would think, I go to, and suddenly my next word came in my native language. I caught it. I corrected it. Again and again. And every time I fixed it, I felt stronger. Like I was training a muscle. At one point, I got frustrated. I said in my mind, this is stupid. I can't do this. Then I paused. I had said that sentence in English. Even my complaints were now in English. And that made me laugh. I realized, even frustration can be part of learning if you keep it in English. I started using tricks. I would talk to myself in short phrases. Now I eat. Now I clean. Now I study. These phrases helped me stay focused. I wasn't translating. I wasn't overthinking. I was just speaking to myself, quietly, naturally, like a child learning a language again. The biggest moment came in the evening. I was walking outside. The sun was setting. I saw people talking, kids playing, cars passing, and I began to describe everything in my head. The sky is orange. The boy runs fast. That car is blue. I felt something shift. For the first time that day, I was not forcing it. I was enjoying it. I was present, and English was helping me see the world in a new way. But I still made mistakes. Many. I said, "He go to shop." Then I corrected, "He goes to the shop." I wasn't sure about the rule, but I knew how it sounded, and that was enough. I was learning not just with logic, but with feeling. Before bed, I wrote a few thoughts in my mind. Day 2 is hard. My brain wants to stop, but I don't stop. And that last sentence, "I don't stop," it gave me strength. Because it wasn't just a sentence, it was a promise to myself, a promise that this path, even if slow, would lead to fluency. And that's when I understood something clearly. Fluency does not begin with speaking fast. Fluency begins with thinking slow, thinking right, and thinking every day, even when your brain fights back. Chapter 3. The Mirror Talk Secret. Something new happened on day 4. I didn't plan it. It was early morning. The sun was just beginning to rise. I walked into the bathroom and saw myself in the mirror. My eyes looked tired. My hair was messy. But instead of thinking something in my native language, I looked at myself and whispered, "You look sleepy." Then I paused. It surprised me. It felt real, like I was talking to someone, but there was no one else. It was just me. I stood there longer than usual, and I said another sentence. "How are you today?" And then I answered, "I'm okay." I slept late. The words were soft, quiet, not loud, but something had changed. For the first time, English wasn't just in my mind, it was coming out of my mouth, softly, slowly, but surely. I was speaking to myself in English, and it felt amazing. It was a strange kind of conversation, but it felt important. I was looking into my own eyes. I was not afraid of mistakes. I was not shy. I was not trying to impress anyone. It was just me and the mirror. And in that moment, the mirror became my first teacher. I asked myself simple questions. What will you do today? Are you happy? What time is it? Then I answered, I will study English. Yes, I feel good. It's 7:15. These were short, easy answers, but they were full of confidence. Because I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to speak. This new activity became a habit. Every morning before anything else, I talked to myself in the mirror, even just 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes gave me power. I started to see myself differently. I started to hear my own voice in English, and slowly, my voice stopped shaking. My words came faster. My eyes looked stronger. I was not just a learner anymore. I was a speaker. Sometimes I made mistakes. He go to school instead of he goes to school. But I caught the mistake while looking at myself. I would smile and say, "Oops, wrong." Then I'd fix it. He goes to school. This feedback loop, this cycle of mistake and correction, became my best lesson. And the mirror was my classroom. I also noticed something else. When I looked into the mirror and spoke English, I felt emotions. If I said, "I feel tired," I really felt it. If I said, "I will try hard today," I believed it. The mirror talk wasn't just language practice. It was connection with my emotions, my goals, and my self-belief. One evening, I even practiced a future conversation. I looked in the mirror and said, "Hello, my name is..." Then I imagined someone asking me, "Where are you from?" And I answered. I practiced smiling while speaking. I practiced body language. It wasn't a joke. It was serious training. And it was working. By day 6, something strange happened. I started missing my mirror talk if I didn't do it. It became like brushing my teeth, something I needed to start my day. And every time I looked into the mirror and said, "Let's start the day strong," I felt ready. Not just ready to speak English, ready to live in English. This was no longer just a learning method. This was transformation. I was building a new identity, quietly, privately, but deeply. And it all began with one simple step, looking into a mirror and speaking to myself with love, curiosity, and courage. You don't need a partner to start speaking English. Sometimes all you need is a mirror and a brave heart. Chapter 4. The Mistake That Made Me Smile. It was day 7, one full week of thinking and whispering in English. My brain was slowly adjusting. The sentences came faster now. I didn't stop to translate every word, but still, mistakes happened. And one of those mistakes changed the way I looked at learning forever. That morning, I was boiling rice. The smell filled the kitchen. I picked up the spoon, and in my mind I said, "I cooking rice." Then I paused. Something felt strange. "I cooking rice?" I repeated it again. It didn't sound right. I tried again. "I am cooking rice." That felt better. That felt correct. At that moment, I smiled. Not because I had made a mistake, but because I had caught the mistake without a grammar book. I didn't open Google. I didn't check a rule. My ears knew it was wrong. My mind felt the rhythm of English. That was the moment I realized I was learning like a child, by feeling, not by forcing. This kind of learning is slow at first, but it's strong. When you correct yourself from the inside, you never forget. And more than that, you grow confident, because you're not depending on anyone else. You are becoming your own guide. I started to welcome these small mistakes. They became my friends. When I said, "He go to office," and later realized it should be, "He goes to the office," I didn't feel angry or embarrassed. I felt excited. I was learning through living. Every wrong sentence was a lesson. Every correction was a celebration. Sometimes I made the same mistake again the next day, and that's okay too. That's how real learning happens. You fall, you rise, you repeat, and then you remember. Slowly, the wrong becomes right. The weak becomes strong. In the evening, I sat quietly and reviewed my day. In my mind, I whispered, "Today I make 3 mistakes." I said, "He go." I said, "She like tea." I said, "I cooking." But I fixed them. I learned from them. That quiet reflection was powerful. It helped me see my progress. It helped me see that mistakes are not enemies. They are signs of effort. There was another moment that made me laugh. I was in the kitchen again. I wanted to say, I cut the vegetables, but instead I said, I cut the animals. I caught it immediately. No, not animals. I laughed so hard. That mistake was silly, but I will never forget the word vegetables now. Why? Because the mistake gave me a memory. This is the truth. When you're not afraid of mistakes, you grow faster. Most learners stop speaking because they are scared of being wrong. But I was learning in silence. No one was judging me. I had nothing to fear. So I made mistakes freely, and every time, I came out better. By the end of day 7, I felt proud. Not because I was fluent, not because I was perfect, but because I was learning like a human. With emotion, with laughter, with experience. My English wasn't just grammar and vocabulary. It was becoming real. It had personality. It had heart. So I gave myself a new rule. Every time I make a mistake in English, I must smile, because it means I am trying, and trying means I am on the path. A mistake is not the end. It is just a sign that learning is happening. A very good sign. That night, before sleeping, I whispered to myself, I am not perfect, but I am improving. And that sentence, said softly in the dark, made me feel stronger than ever. Chapter 5. My first silent conversation. It was day 10. I had already spent more than a week thinking in English. I had described my actions. I had talked to myself in the mirror. I had caught and corrected my own mistakes. But I had never done something that felt like real communication. That changed today. I was sitting quietly in my room. The fan was turning slowly above me. I wasn't holding a book. I wasn't writing anything. I was just sitting. Then a thought came. What if I imagine a conversation? What if I create two people in my head and they talk to each other in English? So I tried. I imagined I was in a store. A woman behind the counter smiled at me. In my mind, she said, Hello, can I help you? I replied in my head, Yes, I'm looking for a jacket.